Today, we're tackling a question many of you have asked. What goes through a narcissist's mind when they mistreat you? How is it possible for someone to hurt you and then act like nothing happened? In this video, we're going to delve into the mind of a narcissist to uncover the justifications and thoughts that allow them to act without remorse. Get ready, because the truth behind their actions is far more complex than you might imagine. If you've ever felt confused or hurt by someone with this kind of behavior, stick around until the end because what we reveal today might give you the answers you've been searching for. These are the 7 ways a narcissist justifies their behavior. Number 1. Victimization, the role of the real victim. Victimization is a central tactic that narcissists use to justify their behavior and deflect responsibility for their actions. When a narcissist feels confronted or criticized, they often reverse the roles and present themselves as the true victim of the situation. Phrases like, "I was provoked," "I had no choice," or "I'm the real victim here," are common in their rhetoric as they seek to distort reality to avoid taking blame. By doing this, they not only evade any responsibility but also manipulate others into giving them sympathy and support, creating a narrative where they are the misunderstood ones and everyone else is the aggressor. This mechanism is particularly damaging to the actual victim, who becomes trapped in a dynamic where they start questioning their perception of events and even their own worth. Victimization not only allows the narcissist to justify their abusive behavior, but also reinforces their control over the relationship, making the real victim feel guilty or responsible for the abuse they are receiving. In the case of covert narcissists, this tactic is even more effective as they present themselves to others as vulnerable and mistreated individuals, while in reality, they are manipulating and exerting control over those around them. Number 2. Devaluation, justifying the abuse. Devaluation is another fundamental tool that narcissists use to justify their behavior. By reducing the value and importance of the other person, a narcissist can rationalize any cruel or dismissive action, believing that the victim doesn't deserve better treatment. Phrases like, "you had it coming," are common and reflect how the narcissist convinces themselves that their actions are justified because they perceive the victim as inferior. This type of justification not only allows them to act without remorse, but also reinforces their sense of superiority, creating an emotional gap between them and the victim. This devaluation also acts as a control mechanism in the relationship. By making the victim feel constantly belittled, the narcissist ensures that they are less likely to question their behavior or attempt to leave the relationship. Furthermore, any attempt by the victim to defend themselves or demand better treatment will be seen as proof of their supposed inferiority, further reinforcing the cycle of abuse. This tactic is extremely destructive to the victim's self-esteem, as it isolates them emotionally and traps them in a dynamic where they feel stripped of their own value. Number 3. Self-compassion, protecting themselves. Self-compassion is a strategy that narcissists employ to justify their harmful behavior by seeing themselves as misunderstood and mistreated victims. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they prefer to view themselves as people who have been forced to act in a certain way to protect themselves in a hostile world. Phrases like, "what I did was necessary to protect myself," are typical of this mindset, where any action, no matter how cruel it may seem, is rationalized as a necessary response to the difficulties they face. This approach allows them to avoid introspection and keep their grandiose self-image intact, convinced that they are doing the best they can given the circumstances. However, this self-compassion is neither genuine nor constructive. Unlike healthy self-compassion, which can lead to reflection and change, the narcissistic version of this concept is a tool to avoid any responsibility. By clinging to the idea that they are victims of fate or circumstances, narcissists avoid confronting the reality of their own flaws and perpetuate a cycle of toxic behavior. This not only prevents them from improving but also allows them to continue harming those around them without feeling any remorse, as they are convinced that they are justified in everything they do. Number 4. Minimization, downplaying the harm. Minimization is a tactic that narcissists use to reduce the severity of their actions and divert attention from the harm they cause. By saying things like, "it wasn't that bad," or "you're overreacting," they try to devalue the emotions and experiences of the victim, making them feel that their reaction is disproportionate or out of place. This process allows them to evade guilt and responsibility while reinforcing their control over the narrative of the relationship. By minimizing their actions, the narcissist not only invalidates the victim's feelings, but also reinforces their perception that their behavior is normal or justifiable. Minimization not only applies to the narcissist's actions, but also to the victim's achievements and emotions, weakening their self-esteem and leaving them emotionally dependent. Over time, this pattern can lead the victim to doubt their own perception of reality, feeling trapped in a dynamic where their feelings are constantly invalidated. Minimization, though it may seem subtle at first, has a devastating long-term impact, perpetuating a cycle of emotional abuse where the victim feels increasingly stripped of their identity and power. Number 5. Projection, blaming you. Projection is a defense mechanism in which narcissists attribute their own flaws, mistakes, or negative feelings to others instead of taking responsibility. When confronted about their behavior, instead of acknowledging their faults, they accuse the victim of exhibiting the same behaviors they themselves display. For example, if a narcissist is dishonest, they might accuse the victim of lying or being unreliable. This tactic not only diverts attention from their own actions, but also sows confusion in the victim, making them doubt their own judgment and reality. Thus, the narcissist protects their fragile ego and maintains their self-image of perfection. This mechanism is extremely effective for the narcissist because it reinforces their control over the relationship, while the victim becomes trapped in a cycle of guilt and doubt. Projection allows the narcissist to perpetuate a power dynamic where they always come out on top, and the victim may begin to internalize these unfounded accusations, believing that they really have the flaws they are being accused of. This erodes the victim's self-esteem and reinforces their emotional dependence on the narcissist, who becomes the only source of truth in the relationship. Projection, then, is a tool of manipulation and control that allows the narcissist to continue their abusive behavior without facing the real consequences of their actions. Number 6. Denial, rewriting reality. Denial is a tactic that narcissists use to avoid facing the reality of their actions and maintain their self-image intact. When confronted about their behavior, it is common for them to flatly deny the facts, even those that are evident or recent. Phrases like, "that never happened," or "you're making things up," are used to distort reality and make the victim doubt their own memory and perception. This mechanism is especially effective when combined with tactics like gaslighting, where the narcissist manipulates the facts so convincingly that the victim begins to question their own sanity. Denial not only protects the narcissist from facing guilt, but also reinforces their control over the narrative of the relationship. By rewriting events in their favor, the narcissist creates an alternative reality where they are always right, leaving the victim trapped in a situation where their feelings and experiences are constantly invalidated. This dynamic can lead the victim to a state of learned helplessness, where they feel unable to change their situation or trust their own judgment. Denial, therefore, is not just a way to avoid responsibility but a psychological control tool that allows the narcissist to perpetuate their abusive behavior without facing the real consequences. Number 7. Grandiosity. I am above the rules. Grandiosity is a hallmark of narcissism, manifesting in the belief that one is above the rules and norms that govern others. Narcissists often see themselves as special and unique individuals, deserving preferential treatment in all areas of their lives. This belief allows them to act recklessly or irresponsibly, convinced that the rules do not apply to them. This attitude reinforces their inability to feel empathy or remorse, allowing them to act destructively without considering the impact of their actions on others. In addition to justifying their own actions, grandiosity also leads them to demand special treatment in all their relationships. They believe they deserve more than others, and that they don't have to follow the same rules as everyone else. This behavior is reflected in numerous studies correlating reckless driving and other risky behaviors with high levels of narcissism. For them, the well-being of others is irrelevant because they perceive themselves as superior beings deserving different treatment. Grandiosity not only allows them to evade any responsibility, but also reinforces their sense of power and control in their relationships, justifying their abusive behavior without any remorse. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments, and if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.